Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on this webinar, The Modern ERP, How Katana and IES Simplify Inventory Management. We're going to start officially in 1 or 2 minutes. Let all y'all kind of come in here, and really excited for today's session. We got Tim and Rachel here with us as well too. Tim, Rachel, how you guys doing today?
Terrific.
Thanks,
Great. Mark.
Excellent. Where are you guys coming from again?
I'm in Atlanta.
Go ahead, Rachel.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm in Prince Edward Island, Canada, Charlottetown.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Toronto, Canada, and we're getting crazy nice weather here today, where it's plus degrees. I feel like it just happened out of nowhere and soaking it in late February. Okay, it looks like people are joining. Yeah, so in a couple seconds, we'll start going through it. We'll go through the agenda for today. The session will take about 45 minutes or so, and we're gonna leave some time at the end for questions and answers. Interactive session as well, because obviously everyone loves slideshows, but we are gonna go through a couple demos of both the IES product and the Katana product here today. So with that, let's get started. So the agenda, well, introduction, a little bit about what Katana is, some of the main inventory challenges that we currently have, or what we see on the Katana side, and when Katana makes sense for your business. And then we're going to flip the script after a nice demo from Tim into Rachel, giving us an overview around IES, Intuit Enterprise Suite. And then together, Tim and Rachel are going to go through a little bit around why the two solutions work so nicely together. And as mentioned, we'll leave some room at the end for Q&A. So just for some brief introductions, my name is Mark. I head up tech partnerships with Katana. I've been here for half a decade, and I've been in the inventory space for about a decade right now, even though I look so good. Tim, Rachel, would you guys like to introduce yourselves? Let's start with Rachel, the guest today.
Awesome. It's nice to meet everyone. I'm Rachel Goodman. I'm a sales engineer over at Intuit, and I specialize in QuickBooks and our brand new Intuit Enterprise Suite. I'm really excited to show it to you today and talk more about it.
Hi, I'm Tim Anningson. I'm celebrating this month my 4-year anniversary at Katana. It's gone by very quickly, and it's been terrific. I'm a sales engineer here at Katana. My role is to support the rest of the sales team and other partner teams with technical parts of demonstrations and software knowledge and things like that. And I get to do webinars like this.
Yes, which is brilliant. So Tim's going to start it out. One note for everyone, you'll see a question and answer area available. So if you have questions throughout, please let us know. We'll answer them the best we can throughout. And then if there's anything that we would like to kind of share publicly towards the end, we'll ask the team here between Tim and Rachel to answer the questions respectively. Oh my goodness. Is it Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Okay. And now with that, I will let Tim start it off.
All right. So what is Katana? Well, as you can see here, it's an easy to use cloud inventory platform for growing businesses. And ease of use and growing businesses are the key points here. Ease of use is a core principle in our design philosophy here at Katana, and it's often the deciding factor over a competing system for our users. So why would ease of use, and as you can see here, quick implementation, unlimited users and SKUs be important for growing businesses in particular? Well, when you need a system yesterday, a steep learning curve along with a lengthy and costly implementation process is just not going to cut it. Also, growing businesses are typically expanding their workflow, their product offerings, but they still need their systems to be stable and predictable in terms of pricing. So adding seats or adding SKUs isn't going to add to the cost of Katana ownership for our users. And to date, we have over 1,500 businesses across 70 countries coming from more than 75 different types of industries. And currently, our users are processing over 4 million sales orders through their Katana accounts every year. So how does or did implementing Katana impact our users? Well, after extensively surveying our user base, on average, they see a 21% increase in inventory turnover ratio, a 12% reduction in stocked inventory, and a 60% increase in sales year over year. So what do these numbers actually mean for our users? Well, number one is increased sales revenue. Without going into the calculations that determine a turnover ratio, an increase typically correlates to stronger sales. And a good ratio also ensures our users are striking a balance between enough inventory on hand while not having to reorder inventory too frequently. This translates to less stocked inventory collecting dust and tying up capital. And the average increase in year over year sales our users see after adopting Katana, that speaks for itself. Okay, next slide. So the main inventory management challenges. These are the core issues that prospects want Katana to solve for. These are what prevent increased sales velocity and revenue and achieving that ideal turnover ratio. So lack of transparency and real-time insights into inventory processes, forecasting and aligning inventory with changing demand, syncing sales, purchasing inventory, and accounting data, managing incoming orders from multiple sales channels, keeping information up to date across all their software services, and if you're actually manufacturing, inefficiencies in bill of materials and BOM and material management. Some of the adjectives we hear about competing systems or the systems they're coming from, complex, confusing, bloated, fragmented workflows, kludgy and static are popular as well. And what we're seeing more and more is this need for optimizing operational cost across the entire value chain. More and more, our users are coming to us with varied and complicated supply chain flows. They have multiple sales order channels from direct-to-consumer e-commerce to EDI big box to traditional business-to-business and distributor relationships. Their inventory is scattered through multiple 3PLs, and their production is outsourced in part or full to co-packers, co-manufacturers, sometimes across the world. Being able to have a system of record and consolidate that into one system is really what our users are looking for and what Katana can solve for. All right, so just to sum up, why choose Katana? Why did our users choose Katana? Why do we feel you should choose Katana? Well, it's, as I've mentioned, it's easy to implement in 6 weeks. This is key if you don't have the time or bandwidth to put in a system. This is compared to 6 months typically for an ERP or other solutions like ours. It's a lean and cost-effective solution that grows with you, very user-friendly interface, which you'll see shortly. And we have industry-leading service and support. You might have noticed all of the awards and accolades we've received on the first slide I began talking about today. So how are we supporting SMB and your workflows? Built-in planning and forecasting, real-time inventory management, warehouse management, production management, if that's what you do. So let's take a look at the actual software. All right, so this is an actual live instance of Katana. It's completely cloud-based, and what you're looking at here is what our users will see when they're using Katana from anywhere they happen to be. Right now, I'm in the sell screen. These 4 sections of the software, sell, make, buy, stock, these are what I would call the day-to-day operational parts of the software. Planning and insights are the broader business analytic tools that we offer our users as well. So let's start here in the sell screen. You can see here there's plenty of instant information for our users. These are the sequence or the queue of orders that I have currently. And through a stoplight color coding system and lots of clear and easy to understand information, I have an immediate grasp of my customer needs and order requirements as soon as those orders hit the system. Where do those orders come from? Well, they can come from a CRM like HubSpot. They can come from an e-commerce platform like Shopify or Amazon. They could be dropped from a customer's purchase order into our AI automation bot and turned into an order automatically with just a click of a button. Or you could just add orders manually. And all this can happen simultaneously. And having the ability to aggregate orders from multiple sales channels tied to the system of record for inventory is a very important feature for our users. And as new orders come in, everything updates across the whole system for our users. I can see if the items on the order are actually in stock. If it's something that I manufacture, I can see whether or not the ingredients I need to manufacture it are in stock and available. Don't have to go anywhere else or ask anybody. It's right here instantaneously. When it comes to progress on manufacturing or ordering from suppliers or production or delivery, all that information is available at a glance as well. I can see this is a work in progress, it's expected on this date, and I've already partially delivered some of that order. Much of this information flows back to my sales team in HubSpot, so they don't need to ask me or look in here at all if they don't want to. The same thing, I can tell just by looking what these individual product items are without even going to the sales order. I can see that there's no ingredients or production information. Just this means I resell these. Whereas orders like this, I make to order. And I can initiate a production order straight from here. We allow for quick actions. And so if I just want to isolate all of my make to order customer orders, I can do a bulk process. Now, all of those are in the make screen as production orders, and I've got expected dates when these are going to be complete. Drilling down into orders, I can get to a lot of information as well. So here's an order for Tim's Convenience. I go in here and I can see the items are expected on this date in these locations. If I want to look more at ingredients availability, so this is saying it's expected, I can go in and see exactly which ingredients are missing, and in this case, where they're coming from on a vendor purchase order that I can jump into here. So we allow for this simple and user choice flow through the software. All of the information from the different aspects of the system flow through to other parts of the system. Just from a sales order, I can see ingredients availability, production scheduling, etc. But of course, I can go into the different parts of the software for specific needs. So if I'm the production or operation manager, I'm going to spend most of my day here if I'm actually making my products. I can see my schedule of orders, total time, quantities, what's being made, status of the bill of material items in terms of availability, what the production statuses are. And I can also make decisions on the fly. This is part of the great automation we offer. So I can see here I've got two customers wanting the same product. This one came in first, so we've allocated the ingredients to them. But this is a bigger customer, bigger order that needs to be shipped sooner. So all I need to do is just move it up in the queue. Katana will worry about calculating all the reallocations. So this is the kind of instant understanding and instant adaptability that we bring to the table for our users in the system here. And of course, if I'm talking about inventory flows, I need to bring inventory in. So we consolidate the procurement process in Katana as well. So the buy screen is where I manage the open and completed purchase orders to my different vendors. And a purchase order has all the detail I need. I can add additional costs before or after receiving. I can email this to my vendor, print it out if I want, send it as a PDF. I can change arrival dates on the fly. I can change quantities, pricing. Everything's very flexible in here. And I can distribute extra landed costs across in different ways in the system here. But because I can issue the purchase orders from here, that information flows through to the other team members that need to know. I'm expecting the ingredients on this date because there's a purchase order open, and that flows through here as well, especially if I'm just purchasing product for resale. I understand immediately that it's on an open purchase order. And we also draw your attention to actions that you need to consider. So this is expected on the 28th, but we've promised our customer the 27th delivery. So we turn that date red so you don't miss out on what needs to happen there. The stock screen is your global understanding of all of your inventory, past and present. We show you your total value in stock. We show you what you have in stock, what you're expecting, what's already been committed. You can isolate just products. We show you where they're located within your facilities, if you do bin or shelf storage. And all of these numbers are updated automatically as users interact in different parts of the program. So a purchase order is opened, expected amount goes up for the material. Purchase orders received, in-stock amount goes up, expected up, and so on and so on. Nobody has to come in here like a spreadsheet and update these numbers. You're getting a real-time, accurate understanding of inventory needs. And we're always calculating, and when you hit below zero, we're going to draw your attention to it like this. And we put alerts up here as well for our users. So we help you avoid stockouts and make educated decisions about purchasing and making without panicking or responding in negative ways. We also help you track batches, serial numbers. We have administrative tools for stock adjustments, transfers, and stock takes, etc. All the tools that you need to properly manage your inventory throughout your business. You can come in here and just look at everything I'm missing for a particular item, and you can initiate a purchase order immediately from there. And away you go. But do I actually need to order all of this now? Well, that's where our planning module comes in. This helps you look ahead in Katana. So here's the same items, the paint that you just saw on the stock screen, but in fact, it looks like many of these I won't need to worry about for weeks ahead of time. So when we talked about those inventory turnover ratios, this is a tool that helps find that perfect balance between tying up capital and making timely purchase decisions. And just looking at this, if that's not enough, we provide even a replenishment suggestion here. So in this case, it's indicating ASAP for these items here. In the system. And this is based on existing demand. If you want to look forward, then you can toggle on the forecasting demand. And then we'll take into consideration past throughput of these items and update the needs accordingly in the system here. So if planning helps our users look forward, insights helps our users look back. So we're constantly logging and aggregating your sales metrics and data, your manufacturing and purchasing metrics and data. We present it in various tables and charts and graphs. These numbers are constantly updating as orders are delivered, opened, etc. You can filter by time frame, by category, by item, by customers, etc. All of this information is available for download instantaneously onto a spreadsheet in the system. So this helps our users look at their total business performances. So at this point, you're probably saying, this is great, Tim, but you're collecting, all of this revenue information. You're collecting the cost of goods sold. You're logging my expenses and my inventory assets. How do I account for all of this? I need to invoice my customers. I need to pay my vendors when their invoices arrive. Well, that's where our relationship with QuickBooks comes in. All I need to do is go into my integrations marketplace, hit connect, choose my QuickBooks instance, map my journal accounts, map my accounts, asset, expense, sales revenue accounts, and I'm ready to go. Now I have the ability to send any sales over to, oh, I got to activate that account. There we go. I now have the ability to send all these sales orders over to QuickBooks, where it'll automatically generate an invoice. I have the ability to generate a bill for my purchase orders in QuickBooks. And that bill will be generated automatically in QuickBooks so that when the invoice arrives from this vendor, I can do my three-way matching, reference the PO in Katana. And then as I close and deliver sales order, the cost of goods sold will go over. And then for my production, I can send over operation costs, and any stock adjustments can be sent over. This is how Katana works closely with QuickBooks Online, and they help us extend the capabilities for our users and meet their needs. Well, that would be a good segue to introduce Rachel.
Awesome. So excited to meet you all. Tell you a little bit about what Intuit Enterprise Suite is. So QuickBooks, of course, you guys are most likely probably familiar with QuickBooks, whether you're using QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. What Intuit Enterprise Suite is it's powered by QuickBooks Online. So it's QuickBooks Online, the highest version, advanced, plus a lot more powerful features. And the reason that the reason that this was created was because we found that so many customers were growing really rapidly and they needed a robust ERP like NetSuite or Sage, but the cost and the difficulty to move was just too much. So the idea of Intuit Enterprise Suite is having everything under one place. Mark, if you want to jump to the next screen. So you can see here, right? QuickBooks, Intuit Enterprise Suite, what it is it's QuickBooks plus MailChimp, plus all of these new features that really give you better insight into your business, whether it's managing multiple entities, robust changes in project management, artificial intelligence built in. I'll show you all this in a second as well. But one reason we've partnered so quickly with Katana is because although Intuit Enterprise Suite brings so many more powerful features, the inventory hasn't changed from the standard QuickBooks Online Advanced. So we hear that that's a piece that a lot of people need far more robust functionality than the bare bones inventory that QuickBooks has. So really our goal is to be this more robust, complete platform. And one of the ways we do that is by partnering with Katana. And here is just another, As you can probably tell, I'm an engineer, so I like to get straight to the software. But just another visual here on really having this business intelligence with KPIs and dashboards. There's consolidated reporting across different entities. You have a lot of this automation. And then again, partnering with other companies gives you even more. Our APIs have stayed the exact same. So as Tim was mentioning during his talk or during his demo, that when he said integrates with QuickBooks Online, that integration is going to stay the exact same when it comes to Intuit Enterprise Suite. And I think that was the last slide I had, right, Mark? Perfect. We'll go ahead and dive in. So, of course, there's a few different versions of QuickBooks. There's the desktop, tried and true, been around forever. There's QuickBooks Online. And this Intuit Enterprise Suite, I'm showing you here, if you see in the bottom left corner, it says powered by QuickBooks Online. There's actually no data migration if you're already online. You're going to log out, you're going to log back in, and you're going to have all these new features. All your data stays with you. And so don't stress about that. Of course, if you're on desktop, there is going to be a little bit of a move. But the great thing about one of the many great things about Intuit Enterprise Suite is it comes with a customer success manager. So when you go up here to go to support, you'll always have 24/7 support with Intuit Enterprise Suite, but you also get a customer success manager. So they're going to help you, hold your hand, really, if you're working on setting up that integration with Katana, if you don't already have it, they're going to hold your hand there. They're going to help you set everything up and really teach you the software. Some of the major differences that come with Intuit Enterprise Suite that you've never seen before in QuickBooks products, or you probably haven't seen, depending on what version you're on, is this online version, you get the accountant view of multi-entity. And what that means is instead of going over to the right-hand side, hitting log out or switch company, logging out and logging back in, you can easily toggle between your different companies. So notice how fast this was. Now I'm at one of my other entities and I didn't log out. You also can manage your users across all the companies from one screen. So if I go up here to the top and I go to manage users, when I go to add in a user, let's just add somebody new in, right? I can choose which companies they should have access to and what each role is at that company, managed from one place. Another piece that's new that I don't think you've seen anywhere is the intercompany journal entries. So we were getting a lot of feedback that as businesses were growing and they were trying to move money between their companies, they were doing journal entries in company A, hitting switch company, logging out, logging in, and doing the journal entries. It's time consuming, it's error prone, it's difficult. Now, when you go to do a journal entry, you can do it on one screen. So this old view where you choose your account, debits, credits, now you can choose your company. So much easier, right? And here's an example of one that I created previously. So here you can see this is between two different companies. Maybe it's between 5 different companies. It's up to you, but it's all on one screen. And you can see here that the Keystone Construction, this due to and the due from. This due and due from, due to and due froms, I'll show you how that's set up. So when you're moving money between different companies, you often want to do those eliminations. Money's not actually being gained or lost, it's just shuffled. So during the setup, just one time, you're going to choose those intercompany accounts. So for Keystone Construction, these are my intercompany accounts. Then when you do the journal entries and you choose, we're moving $5,000 from Keystone Construction to Keystone Terra, maybe they need to pay back in rent. In consolidated reporting, those eliminations will be done automatically for you. And I know I'm going pretty fast, so let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to use the chat. And this was meant to be super fast because feel free to please book an individual demo where we'll set this up with your exact scenarios and it'll make a little bit more sense. But here there's going to be 4 consolidated reports: balance sheet, cash flow, trial balance, and profit and loss. And so when I click P&L, I can see my companies along the top, the eliminations, and then that total, all on one screen. This year to date, I'm gonna do one with a little bit more data. Last fiscal year. Gives you an idea. And you'll have all 4 of those. I'll pause just to see if anyone has any questions in the chat. Perfect. None so far?
Yeah, no questions so far. You're doing great.
Love it. The next piece is talking about dimensions. A piece of feedback we are constantly getting from customers is that they really wanted to dive deeper into their KPIs and their data, right? People were kind of hacking the system by using tags and location and all these different things to get as much data as they could. So now we have dimensions. And what dimensions are is it's basically a super upgraded version of classes. So with classes, you can have unlimited classes, as many as you want, but you can only have 1 class per line item. Now, I'm actually going to switch my locations really fast. Let's go to Keystone Terra. Now you can have up to 20 classes per line item. So you can get super, super granular. One example that I was recently talking to a customer about is that they build homes and then they rent them out. They do Airbnbs. And they were trying to figure out exactly the profit and loss for different types of rentals. If they rent through Airbnb or VRBO, are these long-term rentals making more money than the weekend rentals? Are the beach rentals making more money than the condo? What locations? Really just getting super granular. That's done through dimensions. So notice here, I have these 5 examples. I want to choose the customer type, the earthwork, the utilities, and the concrete. Under customer type, you can still get very granular. You can create that hierarchy that you have today. But now when I go to do an expense, let's say at that line item, we have a $10,000 expense. I want to say that this expense, right? I can choose the customer project, but I could also choose things like this is associated with location A. It's a government subcontractor project. The earthwork we did was grading. The utilities, we did waterproof electrical, and we did poured concrete. This all trickles into reporting. This is also one of those things that if you set up a demo, I am more than happy to set this up specifically for your use case so you can see what this would look like, because it trickles into this P&L report where you can play around. So maybe we want to display this by earthwork. And then I want to filter. And I want to look at, this profit and loss by earthwork, and I want to play around with what the customer type is. You can, of course, there's different options for how to view this, filters, and you can save this report and even save it to a group. So maybe all of your supervisors, you want them to have access to this. It's an option. So see how much more you're getting with this without having to migrate, or rip the whole system out, migrate to a full ERP. That's really expensive. Our goal is to really grow with you. A couple other things I wanted to show as well. If you use projects, there's far more project features. Oops, I want this overview screen. This overview screen shows me a comparison of my different projects. I can look at this, project 1, project 2, I can customize what this looks like. You can see it for payroll or for hourly. And under the all projects list, I can now dive into one of my projects. Depending on the version of QuickBooks you're on, and if you even use projects, kind of depends on what you're familiar with here. For instance, if you're on QuickBooks Online Plus, you're going to get way more features. If you're on Advanced, you're going to get new features like tasks on the project level. Can track as your employees complete things. You can go in and you can see project reports. There are far more project reports. Look at the scroll bar. Things like project status, committed cost by project. There's new WIP reports. This cost to complete, estimates in progress invoicing. And super exciting, we now have change orders. So change orders are now included. You can go in and even see this change log of estimates. So let's say you create an estimate, right, for $50,000. Start talking to the customer. Actually, this looks more like it's going to be $75,000. Instead of creating a brand new estimate, you can actually do that change order. And then you'll be able to view the history on here. Any questions so far? I know we'll have Q&A at the end, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So here you can see that change order. All built in. There's also AI built into here. You can create goals on the project level or on the company level. If I go in and I create a goal, if it's a project, I can choose the KPI, or sorry, yes, KPI, but I can choose the net profit margin. If it's the company level, I can choose from total income, total expense, net profit margin, and gross profit margin. And then AI actually helps make recommendations to make sure I'm hitting these goals. So it'll show me things like unbilled expenses. Basically, it'll help me get back on track. There's also just trying to think here, under forecasting. You now have artificial intelligence that helps out with this. Very exciting. Here you can see the AI forecast. It takes your last 5 years of data that's in QuickBooks and aggregates it, as well as looking at the market trends in your specific industry. So notice here, it's not just, AI where it's just giving me a final number. It's actually telling me its thought process. It's showing me what those, income, COGS, expenses, and then it's showing me based off my last 5 years of monthly income data, the trends each month. And I can actually go line by line and see this forecast. So AI generated this forecast for me. I can click on each box and see why it's getting to the number that it is. AI doesn't know everything, right? Especially in construction with all of the storms that are happening. So if you want to make any sort of edits, you absolutely can. I could go in and I could change, part of this. Let's actually say this is going to be 14,000. Copy it over and make this a budget. Then once it's a budget, you have these actual versus budgeted versus actual reports that you can run and see how close you are. So here I can see what was budgeted over budget by, see how close I am. The last piece I wanted to touch on, just some couple new features, is under advanced accounting, under revenue recognition. We found a lot of people were struggling with just limited options here. And so now I'm going to go and create a new template. You can set up one-time future event, percentage, and milestone. So if you want to assign this to a project or, like a service that's being done, you could set up different milestones. So maybe at milestone 1, 25% is recognized. 25, and then, maybe it's 50%, and we don't need that last milestone. And this will, of course, hit your books appropriately. It was super, super high level, just some of the new bells and whistles that we've rolled out. I didn't even touch on them all. I just hit on the main ones. But we're really excited. Hopefully this is going to help your business continue to grow. And also notice I didn't say anything about inventory. So inventory hasn't changed, which is why we partner so closely with Katana. Over to you, Tim.
Yeah, it's mutually beneficial. Many of the users we speak to are either looking at or coming from traditional all-in-one ERP systems. Our approach with Intuit and other software partners is to be part of a composable ERP ecosystem. So we make it very easy for our users to pick and choose and connect their software tools to Katana to extend our capabilities. And one of our longest and core relationships has been on the accounting side with QuickBooks Online. And it's mutually beneficial for sure.
Well, this was great. And I want to thank both of you, Tim and Rachel. Live demos personally freak me out a little bit because you just never know within the environment, how it's going to turn out. But I think this was fantastic. Now, Rachel's already answering one of the questions that was in the forum here, but I'm going to make you also answer it publicly so everyone else can kind of hear the answer to it. So just everything around kind of implementation, and in particular, if you're going from desktop to IES, like how does that look like? What's the expectations and process around that?
Absolutely. We have a team of experts for it. IES is powered by QuickBooks Online. So it looks a lot like the data migration from desktop to online. It's the highest version though. So you have specialists that really hold your hand and give you the white glove service. I will be honest with you, right? It's harder because you are moving from desktop to an online version. If you're moving from online to online, it's just the flip of a switch. I'm going to share, Fred, a article in the chat that talks a little bit about that data migration and what that looks like. But I'm also happy to set up a call to chat further.
Very cool. Yeah, and that's something we can share afterwards too. So this recording will be sent to everyone, and we'll have all the different links and things around it too to help you and support you. Along with, as Rachel mentioned before, if you want to book a time with our teams or either team or both teams, we can figure that out for you as well. There's another question, I guess, for you, Tim, just around inventory turnover ratio. I think you made mention of it, but just understanding the importance, impact, and just how does Katana kind of look at that, and how can we help?
Yeah, so usually a good ratio calculation between 5 and 10, but if it's not balanced, as I mentioned earlier, invariably what's happening is you are either underselling or missing opportunities to sell or overselling potentially, because that happens. You promise goods that you don't have or won't have on time. But on the other side of it is many of our users have adopted what I would call a just-in-case procurement model, especially after the supply chain disruptions during and after COVID. But that can tie up a lot of capital. And so finding that balance is what Katana really helps our users. They can move to just-in-time, and they can, as their sales increase, they can meet that increased demand efficiently and avoid stockouts and avoid overselling as well, and avoid over purchasing their materials and products. So that's what that's about there. And that's the core assistance that Katana provides our product inventory companies.
Makes sense. Any other questions from the group here? Again, afterwards we will, oh, we got one. So question from Pat. Tim, do you see it? Yeah.
Great news, Pat.
Mhm.
Katana is not a static software. Part of the value proposition that we bring is an aggressive, iterative approach. And we have instituted location mapping from Shopify. So if you have multiple locations set up in Shopify, you can map those individually to matching locations in Katana. And what's great about it is there's a lot of automation built in with that. Once you've created those mappings, typical scenario is I use a 3PL. They will have different facilities throughout the country, and they will make the determination based on the Shopify order where they're going to ship from. And sometimes that's different than the location the Shopify order came into from your website. Not a problem. When they update the fulfillment information to Shopify, because you've mapped locations from Shopify to Katana, it will automatically update the fulfillment information in Katana and close the orders delivered and deplete inventory from the correct location that's been mapped, even though it came in originally from a different location. So great news for you there. That's changed. Definitely would love to meet with you again and talk to you about how that's changed.
Awesome. That was great question, Pat. And for enterprise, for QuickBooks, so for Intuit Enterprise Suite, so this new online version, it's available right now only for the US version. So if your address is in the US and you're using a US version, then yes. If you're using the global version, or if there's a UK specific version, then not right now. But great feedback. Hopefully it'll be available for all the versions soon.
We have a US address was the question.
Oh, you have a US address. So if you want to just go in and check, are you using if you're using the US version now, then yes, it is available. So many different versions of QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Of course.
Any other questions from the group? If not, I just want to post this. You can keep asking questions as you go here. But this is a booking link. So if you would like to schedule some time with our teams, respective, either the IES and or Katana, feel free to scan here. We'll also give all of our contact information in an email over the next 24 to 48 hours. But other than that, yeah, I think we're in a good spot here. So I really want to thank Tim and Rachel. This was really informative, really great work. The demos were fantastic. You guys are fantastic, and appreciate all of you for joining us today. And again, we will email you shortly the recording, and feel free to book a time with us anytime. Thank you, and have a great rest of your week ahead.
Thanks, Mark.